Good morning. Thanks so much for everyone's time today. We really appreciate you joining us. My name is Brooke Berlin, and for anyone who does not know me, I'm the North American representative for Swallow Kalahari in South Africa. And because of that, I have been incredibly privileged to spend lots of time at Fireblade and flying with Fireblade, both on their planes and their helicopters. And so I just thought that this would be a really wonderful opportunity to introduce you to Bjorn Ischner, the general manager of Fireblade, so that you can learn more about all of the services that Fireblade does offer, which include both charter and then, of course, the private terminal facilities. So I'm going to turn it over to Bjorn. And Bjorn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Brooke. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good afternoon, and good morning in the US. Thank you so much for affording me the opportunity to really just touch on everything that Fireblade has to offer. And I hope I can excite you as much as we are in terms of the product and everything that's been established. So we'll delve right into it. Fireblade was opened the 1st of September 2014. It's become the go-to hub in Southern Africa for private, GA, and business travel. And it's really been based at the Tambo International Airport, not by accident, but by purpose, because Tambo is one of the busiest airports in Africa and has got unique connections to the globe. So when the facility was built, we had South African hospitality in mind, and we wanted to showcase it to the world. It's used by leisure travelers that want to connect to Botswana, Namibia, many locations, and that need a safe, secure, and VIP environment to do that. That's the one side of it. The other side of it is our charter component. As you would have seen with the introduction slide, the family's been in aviation since 1936. So we've got quite a history of flying, and we keep a young modern fleet of aircraft that are charterable, that connect hospitality with the leisure component and getting you there. So from a safety and security perspective, especially with the COVID, which is the word du jour at this stage, flying commercially has become very unattractive. The processes that you have to go through at main airports really create a big exposure, a big risk. Using a private terminal such as Fireblade allows you to cut down on those touch points. A basic statistic is Tambo International, if you had to try and do a movement through there at this point in time, is about 240 odd touch points or risk points, where the Fireblade terminal is about 20 points that are actively managed to make sure that they're under control. The facility offers 24 hours security. It's available 24 hours a day, and we'll discuss more, we'll go more into that a bit further down the line. Part and parcel, and looking more at the charter, charter really is about trust, and especially with all the DMCs and leisure travel partners or globally, your clients are looking to deal with you because you've got fantastic relationships with downstream partners. In the aviation space, it's no different. So you need to be able to trust your partner. And that means knowing who the aircraft owners are, knowing what their standards are, knowing what their training components are made up from. And Fireblade offers that. We own our own aircraft, we operate our own aircraft, we insure our own aircraft, our pilots are full-time employed, we have our own quality and safety manager that ensures that everything that's promulgated is followed through on, and we're audited by the Civil Aviation of South Africa on a regular basis. So those kind of components are extremely important when choosing a charter service provider, like Fireblade, for example. The Fireblade community, and I mean, I could speak a whole day on this. It's a very unique setup that we have, and it starts all the way from the owner's vision of empowering the people. Every employee at Fireblade is technically a shareholder, and it just changes the dynamic completely. You want to come to work every day. You want to smile. You want to greet guests. You want to go the extra mile. So every employee comes here because he wants to come here. And that makes a very big difference with the service delivery and the way that you structure the hospitality component at the facility, as well as how you manage the hospitality component on charter flying. So, charter and private facilities, what does it equate to? It equates to creating your own schedules, seamless travel, not having to wait, no queues, feeling special, and really enhancing that experience for your clientele who have limited time in destinations, going on holiday, going on safaris. So travel doesn't have to be in what we call a schlep in South Africa. It should be exciting, and you should be able to experience the passion that a company has for the aviation component when you are booking a charter. So what's beautiful is that the Fireblade facility offers that convenience with the journey that starts right at the facility, and it goes seamlessly into the charter service with the young fleet of aircraft that we have. And I mean, the facility's got everything that you can think of. It's got private lounges, it's got day rooms, changing rooms, state rooms, gyms, spas. And even though the facility is out of this world, it's the people that make it. And that's really the soul and the heart of the company. So just a quick rundown on what we have in the world of private charters. There are no queues. The time at the terminal is kept to a minimum, which is a very big must in the current environment. If you do need time to pause, that's when you can actually access the different lounges that we have. And we'll go more into that a little later down the presentation. So let's look at tailoring. I mean, you all have so much experience when it comes to creating personalized packages for your clientele. And Fireblade is a fantastic partner in creating that turnkey solution for you. Getting you to the lodges, getting you from the hotel to the airport, getting you from the far side of the airport terminal to the Fireblade facility. Anything that you can imagine, I always compare it to the movies where the rock stars and that get dropped off at the aircraft with a luxury limousine, or you have the captain waiting at the door of the aircraft. All of that is possible at a facility like Fireblade Aviation. And we can connect you to all of that. Another big reason for using private aviation, and one of our key features, is safety. So safety, you know the kind of aircraft that you're flying with. It's not an airline. So controlling the quality as well as the safety component becomes an essential additional bar that you can use to motivate your clients into private flying. All right, so the dreaded COVID. I mean, I think we're all wishing for it to be over by now, but Fireblade is no different. We've had to rewrite the books on how we approach safety, how we are COVID compliant. So our quality and safety department, as well as the different operational teams, have rewritten the COVID policies. It's been approved by the Ministry of Transport, the SACAA. So you can be rest assured that going the extra mile to keep your clientele mind at ease has been thought of. Anything from social distancing to onboard specialized catering for minimum touch, to the necessary PPE, personal protective equipment. All those things have been looked at. Sanitization of the facility, sanitization of the aircraft. All aircraft prior and after use have special desanitization processes that they go through now, and the same with the facility before and after use. So that's definitely something that that's a huge plus and under the new normal. So here we see a lovely picture of what the facility looks like now. Just a good example of social distancing, and that starts all the way from before you enter the Fireblade terminal security gate. Everything that's been done in the US and in Europe, measuring of temperatures, questionnaires, all of that is taken care of. And when you get met with a vehicle, baggage is taken to a sanitation area where that's being sanitized. As you enter the facility, you've got the whole spacing scenario, and all the furniture has been, the furniture layout's been redesigned to actually be COVID compliant as well with COVID distancing. So a lot of effort that's been put into that, and whilst trying to keep the look and feel and keep the hospitality standards up to the VIP luxury market expectation. All right, so now onto a lot of the exciting stuff. So the Fireblade fleet consists of, we've got 6 aircraft in total. The first is our Challenger 350. It's a medium-sized jet with 8-seater capacity. We've got PC-12s, fantastic for bush flying. We'll get into that. The crown in our fleet is the Global 6000 intercontinental travel aircraft from here to London or Denmark. So it's obviously the most expensive, but it's the ultimate in travel, long distance. Then we've got the very versatile Augusta AW139, which is a 6 VIP to a 12-seater helicopter. We'll go more into that. And then our little helicopter, the AW119, which is very involved with anti-poaching and security initiatives in Swalu at this point in time. So let's get more focused on that. So the PC-12, it's a very, very versatile aircraft. It's capable of flying 7 to 8 passengers. It's important to look at the composition, male, females, but it's capable of going into dirt runways, grass strips, so it can really connect you very close to your lodge destination. Operating in single engine, we operate with 2 pilots on the PC-12s, and your luggage restriction is generally about 44 pounds per person on the aircraft. Range-wise, it's very ideal for Southern Africa with missions into bordering countries, and then obviously in South Africa to the fantastic lodge offerings that we have. Great photo of the aircraft being stationed at an unmanned airfield, and it usually cruises around 24,000 feet. So it is nice and comfortable, and it's pressurized as well. Then our Augusta 139, you'll see all our aircraft have unique paint schemes. All of them actually tell a story. So you can easily identify our fleet anywhere in the world. An interesting story, our helicopter is actually well traveled. This is a newer model. The previous model was replaced this year, and the owners once a year actually do a trip to Europe and back. Nice expedition trip all the way through Africa up north and then back south again. So there's a real sense of getting the machines out there and using them to their full capability. I mean, how amazing to be able to see Africa out of a helicopter from 8,000 feet. The vistas and the photographic opportunities are just phenomenal. So this is a twin engine helicopter. Anything from VIP flying. It's got a 6-seater VIP component. It can do luxury lodge hopping, scenic tours. It can do specialized humanitarian projects. Our previous model was actually very involved in Mozambique during the cyclone disaster. So it's extremely versatile, does game counts, and yeah, it's just a phenomenal machine to fly. Then the Challenger 350. It's a beautiful mid-sized jet. Range-wise, it would get you from South Africa to N'Djamena in Chad, or to Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. It's got full cabin service, so you can really splurge in terms of looking after your customers. 8-seater configuration, 4-seater configuration sleeping, and great performance on shorter runways, but obviously limited to manned airfields that like Nairobi, your bigger airfields. Now, as great as our fleet is, there are always other requirements, and we can't always cater for or buy an aircraft if there are different missions. And it's very important to pick the right aircraft for the right missions. Typically, we have aircraft that, or customers that contact us, and they'll ask us to position customers to specific airfields with specific numbers of people, anything ranging from 2 people to 80 people. And it's important to be able to tap into the expertise of an operation like us to advise you and to guide you on the best possible aircraft or flying solution that you may require. We've got a picture of a King Air 350, which is a 9-seater King Air. A lot of customers require a twin engine solution, and this kind of aircraft, or a King Air 200, is ideal for a twin aircraft solution into a lot of the lodges that you have. We charter these aircraft in on a sub-charter basis, and the benefit of using a company like Fireblade is that we actually audit all the operators that provide services to us through our quality and safety department. And that includes ensuring that they've got good insurance, that they've got qualified pilots, that the maintenance is in order, that they've got a proper operating certificate. There's a whole array that the quality and safety department goes through to ensure that these guys specify or comply with the Fireblade standards. Incidentally, so we carry a $500 million liability insurance on all our flights, per flight on a once-off basis. So, and really your imagination in terms of aircraft availability is the limit. So we'll source an aircraft for you that's suitable to your needs. So it may not be that the Fireblade fleet would be applicable, but then you've got the reassurance and the benefit of the Fireblade expertise in the market to make sure that the costing as well as the quality of the service is there, and it ties back into the Fireblade facility. So you can still have that turnkey solution. So let's look at international charter. with commercial airlines becoming less reliable at this point in time, and we don't know what it'll look like post-COVID, there's a big drive by the leisure market to look at a one-stop shop, one aircraft per family solution. And we've been engaged with quite a few leisure experts in the leisure market on creating products that would suit their high-end clientele's needs. So this would include us finding aircraft from the US to South Africa, or from Europe to Africa. We do have all the contacts to be able to arrange those charters and then connect them with the appropriate aircraft in Africa. You'll typically find an aircraft that flies the range like we have there from New York to Johannesburg won't be able to fly into the lodges. Regional charter, Discover Africa. We've tried to put some good pictures in where we can showcase some of the areas that we operate to very frequently, from Namibia to Rwanda, the Serengeti, to the Vic Falls. It's all possible with private charter, and it can all be connected. And the operations team, when they can engage with all the travel agents, will help build the solutions for that. We've done some phenomenal work with the travel agents in setting up fantastic itineraries, and to see them come to fruition and being executed afterwards remains extremely rewarding. South Africa has so many fantastic lodges and tourist destinations on its own. We're very, very spoiled to have it in our backyard. It will take some trust once COVID has passed to get everybody back out there. And Fireblade is there to hold your hand to get you through the journey. There's once again, it's really tying the dots, making sure that you've got the correct service, the correct joint, and the correct flying solution to make it work, and different price points. A lot of clients are price sensitive, others are less price sensitive. So it's an important factor, and we usually take steer with what you as a customer advise us on, because budgets are important. So speaking of budgets, charter is actually a lot more accessible than a lot of people think. There's a big perception that charter can be very, very expensive, and it could probably be very expensive, but managed correctly, it can be a huge driver to optimize your clientele's tourist requirements, and in many cases actually make it a lot more affordable. Time is money, and they only have so much time. So here, for example, we've depicted the Kruger, connecting it with Mala Mala, and connecting it with Swalu. To use that as an example, a lot of times there's a perception that people have to fly from the Kruger to Johannesburg to connect to a Mala Mala and then back and then to a Swalu. That's not required. You can, on demand, ensure that that we offer you a package deal, or that we look at tailoring something that fits to your client's itinerary. And this goes for Southern Africa as well as within Africa itself. And it's really about tying it all together. The other thing we can consider is looking at putting aircraft together. You may need a PC-12 in a specific sector, or a helicopter in another sector, and whisk them to the final sector with a jet. And we've done numerous packages like that have worked extremely well, and have really elevated the customer's experience. whilst in Southern Africa. Focusing on the FBO. The FBO is an unbelievable facility, and it really ranks up with the best in the world. It's part of an Air Elite facility, for example. Air Elite is a global network of FBOs like ours, independently owned, and we have a diamond rating, the only one in Africa, which I'm very proud of. We've thought of a lot of little things. We are in Africa, things like load shedding, power failures, water restrictions. The facility caters for that. We have generators on site. We have reserve water for about 2 days, which is quite significant. So the facility is available 24/7, and there's no interruptions for service delivery at any stage. So Fireblade is the only private facility in South Africa that offers on-site customs and immigration services. We opened our border control services on the 12th of February 2018. Even though we built the section, it's completely run by the Border Control Agency and completely sterile in terms of their services. I have to really compliment all the officials over the last 2 years. They've really elevated and showcased what the Border Control Agency can do in terms of customer experience. And we've put about 1,500 flights through the facility, and it's been seamless. We've just had fantastic feedback over the years, and we hope to continue to do so. Currently, the immigration facility, the border control services are suspended due to COVID-19. We are in the process of trying to get that back open. But it's such a game changer being able to land right at the facility, take a 20-meter walk into the facility, have a smiling face, clear you into the country, and connect you to your next destination. So, real game changer, and we hope that this will continue for a long time to come. So this is a good depiction of our downstairs arrivals and departures lounge. It's the busiest part of the facility. Most of the transient traffic moves through there, directly connects you to the domestic arrivals and departures, as well as the international arrivals and departures. And that's how intimate and close the facility is. Outside, you've got a nice picture of how we can move out into the gardens, our indigenous gardens. Our owners are extremely fond of nature, and it's a hugely relaxing environment. You can obviously access soft drinks, snacks, all those kind of things while you wait. And if you're looking for something more, and this is where we would host your clientele, we would take you upstairs to our VIP lounge. The VIP lounge offers a Ritz-Carlton feel. Here you get served. Here you get access to our South African wines. And I mean, we're happy to boast about the offering and promoting of our South African wines. You get access to the kitchen creations, to all the VIP amenities that are upstairs, and you have a very nice view of aircraft arriving and departing from up here. The hospitality staff are, of course, completely trained. They have cultural training. We can cater for different cultures, and dietary requirements we'll get into a bit later when we look at the bistro dining. If we wanted to up the ante even further, you can look at booking a stateroom. These are ideal for clientele about 6 to 8 maximum that want more privacy, that are looking for a slightly higher, more personalized service. If you book one of these rooms, we give you a dedicated butler, and the service is just out of this world. From a standards perspective, the crockery is slightly elevated in these rooms, and the artwork, one of my favorite pieces there, is adjusted sometimes to customers' requests. So we really try and think of the small things when you book these rooms. Looking at our quiet area, we have what we call day rooms and private changing facilities. The day rooms are ideal for travelers that want to catch a few hours of sleep, freshen up in the changing facilities, have a quick snack, and continue with their journey refreshed. The rooms are purposefully not equipped with televisions, so that's a complete rest. And the amenities are especially during the COVID period, completely deep cleaned and specially treated to make sure that these rooms are 100% sterile when used. Then we have a wellness component. We have a spa, which can be booked 24 hours in advance with a full menu of spa services, anything from manicures, pedicures, massages. We've even had some folks that needed to do their hair for a function. So the spa is phenomenal, and it really creates that elevated pause for a lot of travel agencies that want to make sure that their clientele is relaxed once they've arrived from a charter, and then connects out, for example, to a commercial flight. So they reach their commercial flight completely relaxed and ready for sleep all the way to the UK or to the US. We have a gym that's available with everything that you need. Weights, I wouldn't use the weights too often. I'm not that kind of guy, but the treadmill is ideal. It helps burn the calories, and it helps to blow off steam. So this is available 24/7. Obviously, currently under COVID, with the regulations, it's not in use. But once that relaxes, it'll be back and fully operational. The towels and everything there is stocked, hygienically cleaned, and replaced per every guest's usage. So, and that's complimentary. There's no fee associated with that. For the spa, there is a fee with the price list, but that's shared with the tour operators in advance or with the clients in advance, so that there are no surprises. And we obviously have specific deals that we can broker to ensure that you get the best rates. For the bistro, we are not a restaurant. It's all part of the offering. And we're proud to boast that we have our own vegetable and herb gardens, all organic. So from the gardens to the kitchens, augments into the kitchen creations, and we can pretty much create anything. So the kitchen is halal friendly for any guests that require halal. Kosher can be arranged with prior orders, but anything you can dream up can be created to create the look and feel that you want to have for your clients when it comes to food offerings. And we've had some very interesting requests that have come through in the past. Fireblade is also a living gallery. The Everett Reed Gallery displays artwork, all South African artists in our facility. Artists like Vusi Kamalu, Philemon Hlongwane, all on display. And the beauty of it is, if you like it, you can buy it. And to create that bit of extra there's a percentage that goes to the Tswalu Foundation for conservation education. So wonderful art pieces. And I mean, a lot of times if I have a moment, I just love walking through the facility and picking up the look and the feel and the emotion that it creates. So at Fireblade, it's more than a flight. It's a journey. And the Fireblade team is here to take care of every part of that journey that you may require, from quotations to itinerary creations to events that you may want to host before departures. We'll be able to walk with you side by side.
I love it. Thank you so much, Bjorn. So we have a couple of questions that have started to come in. Let me just do this as well. And I'll give it a second for some other questions to come in too. All right. So as I'm waiting for questions to come in, I'm going to just kind of go off of what Bjorn was saying as well from my own experience at Fireblade. Some of you who know me well know this already, and others, you know, I'll say, I mean, I have celiac, and I've always been very well cared for when it comes to the culinary experience at Fireblade. Those of you that follow me on social know that I've started promoting buy South African, drink South African, to get some, you know, wine purchases helping the economy of South Africa. And many of the very unique wines that I've come across, I've been introduced to at Fireblade as well. So yeah, they really do an amazing job, including the art. I do the same thing. I've never once used the spa or the gym, but I walk around and I look at all of the art whenever I'm there, and have purchased a couple from, you know, Fireblade and Everard Reed as well. So with that, Bjorn, I've got some questions for you. I'm going to start with the ones that are in the chat, and then I'll move over to the Q&A. This is just specific to Swallow. What is the largest aircraft that can land at Swallow?
So if it's a private aircraft, the biggest aircraft that's been into Swallow has been a Gulfstream 650, or an aircraft like our Global 6000. It has to be a private aircraft though. Under charter aircraft, the runway requirements wouldn't allow for an aircraft to fly in there.
Okay. Then can you give a little bit more clarity on the airside question? Specifically, can people connect to and from an international flight while staying airside? So not entering South Africa, for instance, en route to Botswana?
That is a very good question, and I'm very glad that that came up. So transit is not possible for the Fireblade facility. So if a client arrives commercially from the UK or the US and flies out to Botswana, we would typically set up services at the main terminal, and the guest would arrive commercially and through VIP meet and greet be processed from the terminal out to the main terminal parking where the aircraft would wait, and then fly out. Unless a client clears into the country, takes the 11-minute drive across to Fireblade and clears back out of the country, it has to be a main terminal transfer at this stage. But our team can arrange both. So if it is a main terminal requirement, our operations teams set up everything there as VIP as possible. And the aircraft will be at the main terminal area to pick up the clients.
A follow-on question, can you connect Kruger with Botswana, and where would you clear customs?
Yes, you can connect Kruger with Botswana. Kruger, Mpumalanga has an international airport, Kruger International, and you can connect with Botswana anywhere in Botswana that's a port of entry. So your typical leisure traveler would probably fly Kruger International to Maun, which is the gateway to the Okavango Delta. And there we have had multiple requests for different kind of aircraft. A lot of clients prefer jet to minimize the flying time and then connect with the PC-12 into the Delta area, for example. So from that perspective, Kruger does have an international gateway. Obviously currently closed at this stage. I don't think it's open yet with COVID. I know they are busy working on it.
What languages do the staff speak?
Well, we've got quite an array of languages available. Obviously, many indigenous languages. So we've got 11 official languages. Not that we can speak all of them, but we do have staff that are capable of speaking German. We've got one or two hospitality staff that can do a bit of French, broken Spanish, and obviously English. Dutch is very well understood because of the Afrikaans connection. So those are the key elements. We do have, for any, if we do have international guests coming in where we know there will be a language barrier, we actually bring in folks that can ensure that there's a translation and good communication. So it's impossible for us to cater for all the languages, but we do have resources that we can draw on to make sure that all is understood from a safety perspective as well as a hospitality perspective.
For the helicopters, can you remove the doors on the helicopters for aerial photography?
It can be done. There is a process that would need to be reviewed, and I almost wish that Captain Lang, who heads up the aviation division, was here. He's also the chief pilot for the helicopters and flown numerous missions. But on that, the arrangements can be made, but it is quite a process and it would have to be assessed on a case-by-case basis.
I have a follow-up question that goes back to Swallow specifically. Can either of the Fireblade jets land at Swallow? What's the largest aircraft the Swallow aircraft can support? Could, for instance, the Global 600 land, or is that only for the owners?
It takes me back to my initial answer. The runway, we can take, for example, the Challenger 350 into Tswalu with special permission from Civil Aviation. It's fire categories, those kind of things that have to be looked at. But in terms of a physical charter for an aircraft the size of a Global 6000, the safety parameters of the airfield will not allow an aircraft to land there under a charter. So that's really just for aircraft owners that have that kind of aircraft.
And I love in the chat, we're getting, Bjorn and I privately, okay, so it sounds like the Challenger 350 would be the best option. I'm gonna go, yes.
That is correct.
And yeah, in our chat, Bjorn and I are getting some private comments. I actually love, we've got some past pilots with Fireblade who have joined us today. So when it comes to the helicopter, we've gotten a note that doors can be opened and locked in position during the flight. And then I want to read this comment from one of our past pilots, and then I'm going to go on to ask one of his questions because it's one that I was going to ask as well. So I'll just say that what was sent to Bjorn and I, Fireblade sets the standard in world-class facilities and custom satisfaction. As a pilot, I had the privilege of working with Bjorn and the team many years ago. I have no hesitation in recommending Fireblade for any aviation travel requirements. Fireblade has redefined the aviation experience. And I left out the kind of banter that I was asked to leave out as well. But with that,
I'm always the blush.
So that the same past pilot asked a question that, again, I was going to ask because I'm so drawn to the art of South Africa, and really have always been very taken with the design of the fleet. So the question is, the aircraft have a very striking and unique paint scheme. What is the history of these designs? And my understanding, if I'm correct, is that it's actually Pippa Scottness who designed them for us.
That plays right into one of your favorites there, Brooke. So that is 100% correct. Pippa Scottness is very involved with the design and the artwork of the aircraft. Each aircraft tells a unique story. If I had to elaborate on each story, we'd be here for hours and hours. The stories are available on the website. So there is a link in the website where you can go to and actually get a bit of background on each aircraft and what all the artwork means.
I love that. And yes, there's actually, leading up to this webinar presentation today, there are a lot of new assets that Fireblade created, including a really nice little sizzle video. I have all of the FAQs and the safety and security standards. I also have that document that Bjorn is speaking about that has the story of all of the designs on the fleet. So if these are things that will be helpful to you and to your clients, we can absolutely ensure that you have all of those. Is it possible to get sample itineraries with a combination of South Africa and East Africa?
Those are easily creatable. Preferably, I mean, I'm available 24/7, 365. I usually try and sleep between 2 and 3 in the morning. But we are happy to engage with any kind of itinerary that a client would want. We do specialize in tailoring and making sure that we get it right for each and every customer. But there are some drafts that we can create that show flying times, what an aircraft performance can do, because those are the kind of things, passenger loads, those kind of things. So that can all be done. And if there is a demand for it, Brooke, I'm happy to put something together for you, which we can distribute.
Absolutely. And again, for everyone who's joining us, the follow-up will include Bjorn's information so that you can get in touch with him at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask for help on those itineraries. But I think, as we kind of all know,
happy to do so.
My Swallow team always kind of laughs at me when I start emailing them at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, why are you up and working? So Bjorn's very much like that, but on the other side of the pond. But I think, as we kind of all know as well, having a sample is one thing, but based upon the clientele, whether it's couples, friends, a family, they're going to choose different lodges. People are looking for places where they can be private right now. So, putting together something with properties, that's much more of how then Bjorn will work with you to ensure that the properties being chosen are the ones that your clients are going to be happiest in.
And absolutely, and giving you advice on the risk assessment for those specific airfields that you wish to operate to, because that's very important as well.
And it wasn't a question that was asked, but I know that it's important. I've been asked about it from other runways as well. Do you want to speak a little bit about the safety elements that are on the ground at the Swallow airstrip as well? Because I know that that's a very unique one within South Africa.
Yeah, Swallow is such a pleasure to fly to from a pilot's perspective. It's got a proper letdown. The runway is phenomenal. It's got runway lighting that can be used in emergencies. I don't know if it's completely approved for nighttime operations from a charter perspective, but I know that the general manager at Swallow was busy with that. It's got a good apron. It's got fuel available. It's got great hospitality section with some very unique birds under a thatch roof that you can go to. So and it's completely fenced around. Many of the lodges that you fly to don't have a fenced runway. we at Swallow, we're very, very fortunate that it's fenced around, and that minimizes things like animals crossing the runway and getting under the wheels of the aircraft.
Wonderful. I think that we have answered all of the questions that have come in. So with that, unless there are any additional questions, I'm going to say thank you again so much, everyone, for your time today. I will make sure that Bjorn gets all of the comments that are coming in as well. and make sure that everybody else gets all of the assets and the marketing materials and the information that we said that we would send along as well. So yeah, again, thank you, Bjorn, very much for your time today, and everyone else for joining us as well. Fly safe.
No, thank you, Brooke, for getting the opportunity. And again, I'm always available. I'm sure that I've only touched on so many things. So happy to revisit and to re-engage for any additional info that you may require. Sorry.
Great. Thanks.